Welcome to sportsbookreview.com, everyone. Donnie, Max, and myself, Flash. We're here to take you as we march into madness. That's another day closer to the NCAA Championship, and it all starts going bonkers. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you, Donnie?
Doing good this morning, Flash. And by the way, just a PSA for everybody out there. If we talk about betting unders, our heart's in the right place. But I always like to say, if you bet an under and it wins, Flash, it was just plain lucky.
Oh, everything's lucky. There's no skill in this game. Talking of no skill, how are you doing, Max? And well done with UConn.
Oh, it was so bittersweet, Flash. I was just like laughing, crying, cheering. It was a good release of emotion.
So you release an emotion going in the same sentence. So UConn, is that actually your number one team? Because I know that you like Alabama as well.
I like Alabama in football, and that's only because Nick Saban is the coach. If Nick Saban coaches elsewhere, I support wherever Nick Saban's the head coach of.
Okay,
but,
today
UConn is my team.
Today, Donnie, San Diego, they come from behind again.
I mean, playing with emotions, Flash. Let's just say you get into this game, right, and you're taking a look at San Diego State yesterday. We talked about that really early tip-off, and maybe that's going to be a harmful factor as these kids aren't used to playing that early. But then you look at the early game, you say, you know what? Air Force might win this basketball game. Boy, were you foolish to take the minus 17. And in the blink of an eye in the second half, it almost looked San Diego State was going to cover the 17 for the full game. But if you had Air Force, that was the right play the entire way through. But boy, they made you sweat with about 7-8 minutes to go in that game when they were down 13 points. Way to go, San Diego State. You woke up. That should be a check for the rest of the tournament. Good win by San Diego State pulling that one out.
Yeah, it was. The class and the cream rose to the top. Max, North Florida, they were second favourites, obviously behind Liberty. Liberty scraped through. North Florida, no good.
Yeah, that was a huge upset, and that would be defined as March Madness right there. KJ Johnson coming off the bench with that fantastic hair, with probably the difference-making shot. And when Lipscomb put North Florida down at halftime, I was like, well, this is this perfect second-half bet play on North Florida. And when they made that comeback, I thought, okay, now they're going to cruise. Well, I was goddamn wrong on that one. Lipscomb plus 1,500, alive and well in the ASUN championship game, going up against Liberty, and they just beat Liberty, so madness in the ASUN, Flash.
Yeah, Donnie, before we go and kick off with the game, we've got 26 games today going into the weekend. There's a massive warning sign that these sides that are top of the odds, they can get beat just as easily as win.
Yeah, no, you're right, Flash. And because, seasons change during, your betting patterns. When you take a look at with this, what I like to call the silly season in college basketball up before New Year's, you're playing on aircraft carriers in ballrooms in Mexico. You're flying around the world. Then you get in the conference play, it changes. But now you get into postseason play where you get back to unfamiliar situations with 18 to 21-year-old kids, where I always coin the phrase every year in March, take the points and pray, because more likely than not, games are going to go haywire in these type of environments. And it's always nice to say, you know what? I don't even have to win the game. If we win it, great, but at least I'm going to get 4 to 5 points in this one. Craziness ensues. That's why it's March Madness, Flash.
Yeah, it's totally mad. Another thing that's mad is that we've had absolutely great views. But everyone's been joining early in the morning. We appreciate that. Now, if I can ask you just a little bit more, is to press the button and subscribe if you haven't. And make sure that we notify you. So ring that bell, we notify you, and then we tell you what's on the menu. Well, you know what's on the menu? Worms. Let's kick off straight away, Donnie. Boise State getting 9.5, going into San Diego or playing San Diego State.
Yeah, now you get a little bit more time off, so you have the early game yesterday you play. At least you get the rest up and ready. 6 p.m. Pacific time today. Obviously 9 p.m. That's going to be on the East Coast. Good little matchup here. I mean, San Diego State, pretty much as we know, is the cream of the crop in that conference. But again, it gets to the fact is, Flash, you don't get style points. You're not worried about, am I going to be ranked? And I'm not worried about, am I going to move up in the stand? You are where you are in the tournament, survive and advance. If you win each one of these games for San Diego State by 1 point, but still cut down the nets in the conference tournament, that's going to bolster your shot for getting a high seed, a number 1 or a number 2 seed. When you have these games, coaches aren't worried about extending the lead from 8 to 15 points with 2 minutes to go. You know what they're looking for, Flash? Let's not get any of my starters hurt. I got to play again tomorrow. It's just too many points. I'll lean on that moniker. Give me the points and pray in this one. Boise State for me.
Yeah, Max, we're going to take the points. It's all about the W. It's all or nothing.
Listen, the San Diego State team continues to prove that they are one of the most profitable second-half teams to bet on in college basketball, and they're going to be playing for a little while longer. I think that it continues against this Boise State team. I think that they walk out with the win. The interesting part about this Boise State squad is, listen, that win against UNLV was not that pretty. They did it ugly. They did it with some really good defense. They did it by packing the paint and really making any drive at the bucket contested. I think that they're not going to have the same ability and opportunity to do so with San Diego State because of how well they shoot the three-point, specifically Jordan Shackle and Malachi Flynn. I think with KJ Fagan coming in, this is where his dividends is going to pay out. This line has no value from a spread perspective, but I do think that looking at the under 134.5, this is a spot where I would look towards the under. I think that San Diego State limits Boise State, allows them to make bad looks at the bucket. Derek Alston, I hate that son of a bitch, so literally I hope that he breaks his ankle, and I think that Boise is just going to have a major letdown spot against a heavy rise in competition.
That's a nice start to the day that Max has given us an under 134.5, and he hopes that one of the players breaks his ankle. Oh man, after having 2 broken legs myself, I don't wish that on anyone. Max, I'm going to stay with you. We're going to go with Georgia Tech getting 4 against a rejuvenated Clemson. I told you 2 weeks ago that everyone in Clemson said how bad they were. They were not looking forward to next year, but maybe the year after, and they keep winning.
No offense, Flash, but fuck Clemson. Okay? Fuck their football program. I hope that it literally ceases to exist. And I'll tell you this. I'm looking at Georgia Tech in this spot, Flash. You know why I'm looking at Georgia Tech? Moses Wright and James Banks. When you got anchors down low like that, it's going to be hard to score even for some of the grimiest teams like Clemson. I think that, yes, we got Amir Sims, we got Johnny Newman, we got Alamir Dawes. This is a talented Clemson team. I'll give them that. But you're going up against a Georgia Tech team that we're not taking something into consideration when we're talking about this game is motivation. Georgia Tech's not playing in any kind of postseason tournaments. They're out for a couple years because of some misdealings, or what the NCAA would say misdealings are. But this is a spot where I think that you got a healthy Georgia Tech team. You got Jose Alvarado, you got Bubba Parham, you got Michael DeVoe, who is a game-changing scorer. Listen, if Georgia Tech can play the quality of defense that we've seen them do over and over again, this is a spot where the under 130.5 hits. This is where Georgia Tech plus 4.5 hits, and this is a spot where they could win outright.
So you're saying it was under what? Under what?
130.5.
Well, that's a skinny number. 130.5, that seems a low number, Donnie, but we're happy getting the 4.5 points.
Yeah, I think I like Georgia Tech too. I'll lean on them getting a couple points here, playing well down the stretch, winners of 3 games heading in the ACC tournament. Again, it's a shame we actually have to talk these ACC meaningless games, but it is March in the Madness. It's still March, and they're college basketball teams, but I think Max has the right approach to this one. Look, Clemson's going to muddy it up. Georgia Tech's going to try to push some pace, but I do like the fact that Georgia Tech is healthy now and playing good basketball. I'll take the points in this one in a close one and try to lean on getting a Georgia Tech victory here.
Okay, plenty of people in the chat. Obviously, Deer Slayer, he's gone with a run as first play, as he always does. Wrong sport, though, dear. Wrong sport. And Dan Kelly says, tell us how you really feel, Max. Dan, I hope we see you again eye to eye on Tuesday night. We'll tell you about Tuesday night in a little while. But before that, Wake Forest getting 8, Donnie, against NC State. Fancy NC State. They have got to produce.
No, they do have to produce, but, looking at this game, Wake Forest, as we know, doesn't play all that great a defense. They'll try to get a little bit up-tempo. It's another one of those games heading down the stretch. Not that much meaning for me in this game, so I'll just lean on taking the points this one. I don't have a big feel for the ACC. Haven't bet very many ACC games all this year, and this is two teams that I really don't care about, so I'll keep it moving here, Flash.
Yeah, Max, I like that. Donnie said he doesn't really have a feel. I had a great feel. The problem is I had my gloves on. No good at all when you have your gloves on and you're trying to feel around for worms. Yes, Max, Wake Forest getting 8 against NC State.
Yeah, I had to make sure that I wasn't on mute there, but this is a spot where I think that we have to look at NC State. We have to look at the situation. They're on the bubble. They need this win. They need a convincing win. You don't want to win this game by 3 or 4 points when now now when committee members, the odds are going to be staring them in the face. How could they not hear about it, know about it? This is definitely going to play a factor in. I think that style wins will get you further in this new age NCAA. I think the NC State definitely has the pieces to win tonight, but the issue with Wake Forest is, can you keep them off the free throw line? That's where they do their dirt. I think that when you have Brandon Childress, you have Oliver Sarr, that is a good foundation to get going. There are guys on this team that can come out of nowhere and give you a performance. I think that this is a spot where Wake Forest plays spoiler, and you got to take the 8 points. As far as the total, this is a spot where I got to look at overs. I think that we've seen Wake Forest put teams on the line just as much as they've been getting to the line. NC State's no slouch when it comes to that. And we've seen guys like CJ Bryce and Braxton Beverly be very complimentary to Markel Johnson. So I think that when you look at this spot, NC State's going to have to score the basketball and not go into scoring funks. Wake Forest can oblige, and Wake Forest can do what the shot clock stops, so that supports the over also.
So what number have you got on the over, Max?
I see 151.5, but I have not bet the over yet.
But, what number would you like before you press the button?
Well, I'd like to see a little reverse line movement. But at this point, if I start to see books start to move, I'm going to jump on whatever I can get 151.5 at.
Okay, Max, what about the coin flip when we got Richmond giving up 1 going into Duquesne?
Yeah, this is far from a coin flip. This is going to be a highly contested game, in my opinion, when you have the dominant guard play on both sides of the coin with Tavian Dunmartin and Sincere Carey for Duquesne. And then you have Blake Francis and Jacob Gilliard, not to mention a big man in Grant Golden, who's going to be a handful if he actually gets touches. We've seen this Richmond team sort of get away from balanced scoring basketball where they go inside and out and they become very perimeter and penetration oriented. I think that's going to revert back, and I think that Grant Golden's going to be able to take advantage. I think that from a skill perspective, he uses that left shoulder very well to get his hook shot. I think that's going to be troublesome for Mike Hughes and Bailey Steele, who do have a tendency to be overly aggressive inside the paint. I think that Richmond's able to win this game. Duquesne doesn't have a natural home environment. I prefer to lay with my Dukes when they're a 3 to 6 point dog. In this spot, this is basically a pick'em game. I think that Richmond ends up showing their quality, and I think that they really frustrate Duquesne in scoring. I look for the under 143, and I look for Richmond to win the game.
Okay, we like that. Richmond -1. That's a pick'em. Flip of the coin, but we're coming down on Richmond's side, Donnie.
Yeah, taking a look at some heavy action early. I mean, 8 out of 10 tickets coming in on Richmond. No surprise here, because I do think, along with Max, Richmond is the better team. And also, there's some outlying situations that you want to look at. Duquesne, if they can pick up a win here, can move into the top 4 in the Atlantic 10 in play, which is going to be key for seeding purposes as you enter into the conference tournament. But more importantly, also, you can counter that on the opposite side going. If you're watching any one of these, bracketologies or Jerry Palm, a lot of these guys have Richmond as the first 4 out. There's no way they want to lose this game. Every single win that Richmond picks up is going to bolster their chance where they don't have to make, an elite run in conference tournament play just to make it in. This is a bubble team that needs a win. And also, let's keep in mind again, where these teams are playing games certainly matters. And me and Max have been on this at least for the past couple of weeks telling you guys, when you don't have a true home, like hey, it's home, it's senior night. Well, is it really senior night when you're playing not really in your home arena, as this game looks like it's going to take place at PPG Paints Arena, which is, I believe, the same place where the Penguins play. It's nice to actually get your home games. It means a lot more on senior night or your last game when you play at home where you played for all those years. That's not going to take place here in this game. I do think, even though the heavy ticket count is on Richmond, I love Richmond. I'm a huge fan of what they can do, from the coaches, from the guards, down to the guys down in the paint. They're a really good team, but Duquesne needs this game. But I think Richmond needs, and again, we're talking about betting on emotion. You're like, everybody wants to win basketball games. There's no question about it. But when a team knows what's in focus, saying, if we lose this game, there's a good shot we won't make it into the tournament, that gives me a little bit more of a nod than, hey, if we win, we can move into the top 4 of conference tournament play. I like Max with Richmond. I'll go with the public play on this side. I think it wins.
Yeah, and Richmond are 8-1 in their last 9 games, 13-4 in all conference. So thanks for that, Rodzi. Keep all your information coming in the chat. We're a team, remember, so anything you've got to add that might be able to help us, then fling it at us. VCU +4 against Davidson, Donnie.
Bad spot for VCU, and it's simple as this. The VCU's coming in this game losers of 6 of 7 games, 1 home win, nice win versus George Washington, 75-51, but have routinely getting pounded. And here's the key ingredient when we're taking a look at here. Yep, senior night down at Davidson. Do they want to play? You get your jerseys, you get your picture taken, coach gives you a handshake. They're a good basketball team, Davidson, at home, much better at home than they are on the road. But when you take a look from a VCU perspective, they're not where they were the past couple of years. We're heading into the conference tournament, Flash. They're already going to be in the tournament, whether or not they win a game or two or run the table and cut down the nets in conference tournament play. This is a team that's heading in the wrong direction and knows their only shot at getting to March Madness is winning the Atlantic 10 tournament. So you telling me that losers of 6 of 7 games, down 4 players, including 2 starters, and we keep in mind the last game that VCU went into the Siegel Center and got beat, they had 3 players in that game that factored into the scoring. I'm talking about guys that scored 19 points and 15 points that aren't even making it down to Davidson, and some of their key defensive players. Is VCU still going to try to push tempo? Sure they are, but they don't have the horses to run with Davidson at home in this game. I like Davidson to cover the 4, but I also even like more the Davidson team total of over 70 in this basketball game. When you're taking a look at VCU that says, whether or not we win this game, it doesn't matter. We're not even going to dress 4 of our regular players. Let's move on to the conference tournament. That shows the white flag that shows you might get blasted going down to Davidson tonight. Davidson side, Davidson team total, they pick it up tonight.
Yeah, Max, we've got our first team total from Donnie, and it seems a reasonable one. Team total over 70 for Davidson. Davidson -4. Make it a full house.
Yeah, I'll be tailing the Pub Sports Radio play of the day, absolutely.
Yeah.
With the team total over in Davidson. But when I look at Davidson, this is a team, yes, they should win this game. My numbers with this VCU roster is 7.5. So there's definitely value. I've hit Davidson already at 3, 3.5, and 4. I will point out that the cupboard isn't bare for VCU. With Marco Santos Silva and Isaac Van, Nye Highland, like there's guys there that can score the basketball. The fact is, I've been doing one thing when I've been seeing VCU as a dog on the road, and that's hit the favorite. I'm up 6.3 units on the season doing it. I'm going to keep on doing it. And I think that Davidson locks in the three-point line. I think they get to the free throw line. I think that they do a good job of not turning the ball over and not giving up a lot of offensive rebounds to Marco Santos Silva. This is just a too short number. The value's with Davidson. I'm taking it, and I still like it all the way up to 5.5.
Okay, well, you've got a skinny number on VCU versus Davidson. Let me give you a gigantic number of 15.5 for Wyoming against Utah State.
Yeah, listen, Wyoming was fantastic last night versus Nevada. To disclose the truth, I did not have any expectation that they could beat Nevada last night. I was like, no way. Like, they could stay within the number, but actually beat Nevada. As a lover of the Wolfpack before they hired that schmuck Steve Alford, It was very sad to see happen. But put it on frickin' Wyoming. They're on a run right now. They're getting great play from Jake Hendricks and Hunter Maldonado, and I think that it continues tonight. Listen, Utah State is flirting with danger. They're on the bubble. They have to win this game. They don't have to win this game by 15 points. Wyoming stays in this, plain and simple. This game goes over. Wyoming's been profitable to the overs. I think that this game is a game where Utah State has to get their offense going, knowing that Wyoming's been very dominant in the second halves. You do not want to sleep if you have a 10-point lead at halftime on this Wyoming team, because that's what Nevada did last night, and they got snuck up and they got shook up.
What's the total on the over?
130.5.
Okay, that seems skinny, but Wyoming at 15.5, and it is all about the W for Utah. I'm thinking, Donnie, that they just make sure they get the W.
Yeah, that's what it's about in March, and Max brings up a good. And also, again, we preach this each and every time we come on here, especially across the channels. This is what we're here for. Sportsbookreview.com is the actual name of the website. Yes, review the sports books. That means you can get different credits and different abilities to play different games. Pinnacle Offshore, flash 132.5. Look at us in New Jersey, sitting at 130.5. That's a 2-point swing right here, depending on which way you like the game. Always check out the books. But getting back to this, I always like a team that's hot. Max is right. I'm shocked. Writing up the tickets last night as we were punching the script for today, I'm like, yeah, Nevada's going to be tomorrow. This is going to be a nice game, Nevada versus Utah State. Didn't end up happening. I'll lean on the hot team in that spot. But again, we don't even need a win out of Wyoming. You basically need Wyoming just to show up in this. And Max also calls it as well. Utah State needs on the bubble. You just need to win. The more wins you get, the better. You're not worried in a conference tournament about blowing a team out, survive in advance, get to the next day. That's all that matters. I'll lean on taking the 16 points that are out there.
Okay, there's 16 points out there, and we're going to go over 130.5. The next one is Drake. They're getting a massive 10 points against Northern Iowa. But how tired would they be from yesterday?
I don't know how tired they're going to be from yesterday, but I think we all called this correctly on the show. You know, you bring in a team that's not so reliant on a three-pointer. It's got a dominant big man. You think you can move on and get a victory. It's exactly what Drake did. Now they're going up against the top team to me in conference play, the team that can assault you, Flash, from three-point range. But again, if you're talking about a team that's deadly from three-point range, which we know Northern Iowa is almost 41% in conference play from three-point range against a Drake team that will let you shoot the three, do you go and fall back into that situation and say, boy, we just preached yesterday, watch out for the team that live and dies by the three and the other team that'll let you shoot the three-point shot? That's exactly what you have here today. I think Northern Iowa obviously is the better team. I don't know if I want to lay money and go and say, you know, Drake, it's 10 points in this game. You know, it's 10 points. That's too much for me to lay in this game. I'll lean on Drake in this one here.
Yeah, it does look too much, but there again, we could be looking back and it's a complete blowout because Northern Iowa get into their rhythm, Max.
Yeah, listen, with this Northern Iowa team, what have I learned from them is that they're a second-half team. They're a team that can lay it down in the first half, give you the impression, well, this is the time that they're going out, and then they come back with a 39-point second half and only allowing their opponent to score 27. When you look at this matchup, Northern Iowa's handled Drake in two distinct and very memorable ways. When you look at the fact that they only allowed Drake to score 43 goddamn points, Drake's got to have a different game plan for dealing with AJ Green and Trey Burhow. I think that you got to do what you did yesterday. Muck it up and let your big men go to work. Let the big men get some touches. Liam Robbins and Joan Jackson were fantastic yesterday. They highlighted exactly what Drake needed to get by. I think that they have to use a similar strategy today versus Northern Iowa. I worry about one guy that doesn't get spoken about enough, and that's Isaiah Brown for Northern Iowa. If that boy is able to get to the free throw line, penetrate the bucket, and really break down this Drake in interior defense, it's going to be problems. I agree with Donnie. It's 10 points is too much, but this is a play that I watched the first half, and I looked to make a play on Northern Iowa at halftime.
Okay, so just sit on and see how close it is, because Northern Iowa, if they turn up first half, then they could run away with it. Johnny, Southern Illinois, getting 5.5, going in, and they're playing Bradley.
Yeah, no, taking a look at this game, excuse me, I've always been a big proponent of Bradley throughout the season. Most of the time they did pick up some cash for me and fill my pockets, but they have let me down in a few situations. The Southern Illinois is going to slow it down here. But to me, when you try to look at styles that make fights and components that actually work in postseason play, when you're not playing on your home court, both teams are in a neutral court, maybe a sterile environment, these are the teams that I like to back. And when you're taking a look at Bradley in this game, you have the dominant point guard in Darryl Brown. You also have three-point shooters, Nate Cannell. You have Tavanainen coming off the bench, who's a laser beam, one of those foreign players that can shoot from three. You also have a big man in Coke Barr, 6'11", and then you have the ultimate power forward in the conference at Elijah Childs at 6'7". So what I'm saying here, and keep it short, is when you have all components, when you can play dominant at the guard position, when if your threes aren't falling down, you have bigs down low that can actually get points for you in the paint when you need it, when your shots on the outside aren't working. This team should move on. They are going to be a threat, and certainly a good shot at winning this conference tournament. I like them in this game against Southern Illinois. Now, Southern Illinois is going to try to slow it down, muck it up, play good defense. They're not skilled enough on offense, I think, to get by Bradley. I'll take Bradley in the spot to move on. And again, if I think they're going to win this game, I think they're also going to cover as well here, Flash.
Yeah, and it's a good opportunity to remind people that it's a 3:30 Eastern Time tip-off. Early tip-off for you, Max. Are you going with Bradley or Southern Illinois getting the 5.5?
Yeah, I'm biased right here. I'll put it out there. Disclaimer, I'm biased. Bradley Braves. All day, every day. Put those in your pancakes and eat them. Because you know what? It's Bradley's time. This is a tournament team with tournament quality written all over it. I think that has not lessened since last year. And I think that when you look at this game that they played last time, 69-67, Bradley had an 18-point lead. They coughed it up. They had to fight and get that game. I think that they take it to Southern Illinois early. I don't think that they let go. I think they go wire to wire. And against normal tournament strategy, I think that they are just going to pound them. This is a spot where both teams are allowing you to score from wherever the hell you want. They're both putting you on the line. You can make some free throws. 125 is too short of a total for me. I don't think that this is like the first game they played. I think it's like this is the most recent game on a neutral court. So Bradley minus 5.5 over 125.
Okay, well, I'm just going to throw in there my normal one when we get something like this, Maxon. -3 first half, Bradley. Go wire to wire.
Yeah, I think that's definitely in the game plan. How I see this game lined at, I lined it at 9.5. So
okay.
put that in your stew and eat that.
Okay, so normally we'd say put that in your pipe and smoke it. Okay, I'm going to stay with you, Max, because there's two sides that you've had joy with, and there's probably going to be a lot of occasions when we say this, but Buffalo getting 2.5 against your Bowling Green.
Yeah, there's only like 5 or 6 teams that I absolutely hate and hope that their program ceases to exist in 5 years. But I pretty much love every college basketball team. So when it comes to this Buffalo Bowling Green game, I think that this is a game that Buffalo definitely has some revenge. Looking back in the earlier conference season where they lost by 1 point at home. I think that with Buffalo, this is a team that has to use their advantage on the glass with Josh Mballa to really get yourself some second chance opportunities, limit opportunities for guys like Dominic Plowden to get there and get his guys good looks at the three-point line from kicking drives. I think that with this Bowling Green team, I think that they predicate themselves on playing good defense. I think that is something that we see go and come with their performances based on the opponent. Tonight, I think Buffalo is able to muck this up. I think that this game should have been lined around 146 to 149, enough value to take the under. And I think that when it comes to a side, I got to look at Buffalo getting the revenge.
So Buffalo around 2.5, maybe 3 in places. What's the number full game?
I got 155.5, so you have to do line shopping and also make your estimations. But seeing as I lined it as the range from 146 to 149.5, you can go as low as 152.5 and still have enough value.
Okay, Donnie, we look as if we might have found a spot here under 155.
It's a tough one for me because I think both of these teams are going to play tempo, but there's something still missing a little bit about Bowling Green. Dylan Fry, since coming back after that extended leave of absence that he had, he was rolling. I mean, you can count on Dylan Fry running, either point guard or shooting guard, knocking down three-point shots, anywhere between 15, 16, 17 points a night. It just hasn't been there since he's gotten back, and I thought that flow might come back a little bit easier. And it's senior night. I know it's going to be an emotional time, but that doesn't really play all that much into the basketball game itself. I do think Buffalo's going to try to get out and run in this one. I think both of these teams can get into the 70s. So if I'm saying that, I would be leaning towards taking the over, which now sits across the board at most outlets. Even a 157 just popped up at Pinnacle. I think that value is going to be there. But until I see Bowling Green get back to the Bowling Green that played most of the MAC season, I don't know if I can take them on this because I can see, again, as I said, 70s for both of these teams. I like Buffalo. I've always been a proponent of Buffalo teams. Tough one for me tonight, so I'm not going to lean on anything. Say, take Bowling Green at home. They should be. I'm not going to do any of that. I think the game has a slight chance to go over, but not anything I'm willing to put my money on here, Flash.
Okay, Donnie, Kent State getting 6.5 going against Akron Kent State. They've done well this year, but it's end of the road for them tonight.
Look, Akron's a pretty good ball club. And when we take a look at Akron, what do they want to do? They want to shoot the three. When we took a look at Kent State's defense, they don't defend the three all that well. Actually, 8th in conference out of 12 teams at defending the three. It's just a matter of that three ball goes down. Akron is at home in this game. They do have some seniors that are going to take the court for the very last time. Not a great feel. I mean, I'm looking more towards some other games in the MAC specifically, but this one here, Kent State, I'll lean on Akron because they're at home, but not much else after that.
Okay, Akron giving up the 6.5, Max.
Yeah, I think that Akron definitely has to pick up the three-point shot, which has pretty much disappeared over the last couple games. I think that with Akron, I anticipate them having better starts to first halves, and that has also left itself. I think that this is an upset central alert kind of game. I think that Kent State can win this game outright, but I'm not betting it as of yet, and the number seems to be moving in Kent State's favor, at least at the book that I'm looking at right now.
Wow. Okay. Would you be tempted to go with Kent State just on the first half then, getting points?
Yeah, listen, we point out the Donnie strategy for dogs, and if the dog's up at the end of the first half, well, they have a much better chance to cover full game, but at this point, I don't have enough edge and enough value with the number to warrant making a play. Okay,
have you got an edge or anything to warrant a play with Eastern Michigan getting 6 against Toledo?
Yeah, I think that with Eastern Michigan, this is a team that I want to keep on taking the plunge with. I think at 6 points, there's some value there. This is a team that plays good defense. This is a team that's been able to score the basketball. I think that when you got a guy like Noah Morgan, you really got to be able to get him some touches and good spots on the floor. And he's a great recipient after a 3-pass ball-moving side movement. So I think that when it comes to Eastern Michigan, this is a team that definitely can muck it up and definitely can disappoint you from an offensive perspective. But I do think coming off that Western Michigan loss, they're in a prime spot to be a little undervalued and not seeing they need to win the game. All they got to do is stay within 6. So I like Eastern Michigan in that spot.
Okay, Eastern Michigan getting the points, Donnie.
Yeah, usually look at these games and say, well, Toledo wants to shoot three-pointers, and Eastern Michigan's going to let you shoot three-pointers. That amoeba zone's going to get out there super length. It's almost like Syracuse to a little bit more towards the west. Big athletic players that just clog you up, and you see so many times when you watch an Eastern Michigan defense that the offense is unsettling. Even though the three-pointers are there, somebody's in your face, somebody's running you off the three-point line. You often see guys that are ready to catch and shoot three-pointers, catch and shoot and pump fake, and then try to reset and shoot the three-pointer. It's usually a recipe for disaster. I think Max is right also. 54-point outing last time versus Western Michigan. That's not going to happen again. More look at the team total for Eastern Michigan in this one, because if some of their three balls are going down, I think they can do well. But anytime looking for a total in the game or a team total the opposite way against Eastern Michigan, it's so hard to go against because so many times you get in that situation and say, hey, this team should be able to shoot right over that zone, and they have 6 points with 12 minutes to go in the first half, and your over is already shot. Eastern Michigan team total is the way I would look in this basketball game. Not a lot here to love, but hey, I'm not going to take another team total go against Eastern Michigan and be frustrated 3/4 of that basketball game in.
What number are they on, Donnie?
I could get that for you once we dip back in.
Okay, no worries. Well, let's go from Eastern Michigan. We'll go Western Michigan. Again, 6 and a Central Michigan. There's plenty of Michigans about, Max.
Yeah, this is a spot where I'm just like dumbfounded when I look at the Central Michigan team. This is a Central Michigan team on a 9-game losing streak, just burning your goddamn money, and I keep on wanting to take them. And they beat Western Michigan by 7 this year. But that was a long time ago. And I think Western Michigan is going to be able to stay within this number. I think there's value on the first half. I think there's value full game. As far as the total, not really anything there for me on that. But, yeah, I got to look at Western Michigan at +7. I got to look at them at +4 on the first half. Yeah, it's just hard for me to lay my money with Central Michigan even at home.
Is Central Michigan that old girlfriend that treats you so badly and yet you still keep running back? But tonight, enough's enough.
Well, if she has the magic poom poom, then obviously I'm going back there as often as I can.
Yeah.
But yeah, Central Michigan is a stuck-up, pretentious bitch, and I don't like them.
Okay, I can't imagine you being with someone like that, to be fair, Max. So Western Michigan is for you. Is Western Michigan for you, Donnie?
Western Michigan is not for me in this game, but I do like an actual team total in this one, and Max is right. This team has been a money burner, obviously 9 straight losing games, but let's also remind, when you're in the flow, you're an up-tempo team, you love to play at home. They damn near played 1 home game in the last month. 5 out of the last 6 have been on the road, and it's hard to win on the road, especially when you don't play any defense. So you like to be in your gym. We talked about it yesterday. Isn't it nice to shoot 5,000 shots from a certain point and say, you know what? This is my home court. It's what I like to do. Senior-laden team. They get right tonight. And the reason is when you're saying, like, well, they haven't really been scoring that much. 57 on the road to Miami of Ohio. Eastern Michigan, 63. Ball State, 68. Some of the better defensive teams in conference in Eastern Michigan and Ball State. But when we take a look at that 1 home game that they did play in the last month, they got 81 points. The opening number, I couldn't wait to get it. I hit it at 77. Now it looks like it's up around that 78 level. I think they get into the 80s tonight. Senior night at home. Don't play at home that much, but when they do play at home, they do score points. There's no reason to believe that they're not going to push it up and down. More of like a rec center type game, which leads to points in this one. I don't like Central Michigan as a side. They're going to score some points tonight. Get that team total over. Let's get there.
Yeah, it looks like the team total goes over, then the full game goes over. Okay, one more. I've already got this starred, to be honest. I'm going to start with you, Donnie. Niagara getting 6 against Canisius. Canisius, they crushed them for me.
That about Canisius in the last game. I got to give Max a shout out in that one because he's the one that said he liked Canisius on the road against Marist. I'm like, you know what? I don't trust Canisius as far as I can throw him. And then they go and pop an 85 spot on the road. Now they come home and play Niagara, 2 of those Western, Pennsylvania, Western New York type teams. They're going to get together in this one. And I don't necessarily like the game overall, but I got to tell you, I've been waiting for Canisius to sort of rise up because they have some decent talent on that basketball team. As long as Niagara's 3 balls are stuttered a little bit so they don't hit 45% of the threes, Canisius should be able to win this game at home here in Buffalo. I think they do win this game as well. Give me the cover also on top of it.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all, Max. Just put that little cherry on top of the cake for us. And Canisius giving up 6 against a Niagara side that you just can't trust. And all right, they've done a couple of decent performances at home, but not for me, not today.
Listen, I'm unfortunately on the other side of this game. I'm going with Niagara. I think that Niagara definitely is a little more offensively stout and efficient, like Donnie alluded to, with their 3-point percentage. This is a team that also isn't going to have a huge size advantage like they do versus other teams within the conference. I think that Canisius definitely has something going with Scott Hitchison coming off the bench and Jakob Fritz and then Markel Johnson being the offensive go-tos in the first unit. I think that with Niagara, though, I think that Greg Kukamansa is going to be the difference maker in this game. I think that he's done a great job being able to give you double-digit points, being able to do a good job on the glass. He guards his position well. And I think that when it comes to James Towns, this is the forgotten guy within this Niagara offense. I think that he comes off the bench or starts regardless, and I think that he gives you a good game tonight. I think that Niagara stays within the 5.5. I'm holding out for a 6, and I think that this is a spot where Canisius comes back down to earth. Maybe wins the game, but I think that 2 buckets is a little too much.
Yeah, listen, there's plenty of love in the chat for you, Max, as well. Moneyline Global. He is all over Niagara. He's told you, Niagara. There's plenty in there. Let me just take a pause and a break. You go and press that button to say that you like the show. You go and press that button to subscribe. And I'll tell you about a poker tournament that's happening on Tuesday night, which is March the 10th. Take it away, Lee.
What's going on, guys? Lee Martin here to present to you UWager's third annual $1,000 Bounty Free Roll Poker Showdown with SBR. The poker tournament will be held on March 10th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time and will be broadcasted live over here at SBR headquarters. If you do not want to play in the tournament, but want to just sit back and watch the event from the comfort of your own home, then you can watch all the hot action on SBR's YouTube channel at SBR Sports. If you do want to participate in the tournament and want a chance to win some extra cash for March Madness, then simply sign up for the tournament via sbrvideo.com/poker. You must have an active UWager account in order to participate in the tournament. So, if you do not have a UWager account, do not worry. Signing up is very simple, and we have everything you need in order to sign up. Just head over to sbrvideo.com/poker. Click Join Now, fill out the information boxes, then wait until March 10th to register into the event. Registration for the tournament will begin at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 hours before the event commences. Registration is free, with a $1,000 prize that is up for grabs, and that is not the only prize to offer. There will be a $100 bounty on the heads of each of our 6 key personalities. The SBR personalities participating in the tournament are yours truly, everyone's favorite man Flash, Donnie RightSide, and Sports Keg CEO Jason Paglia. There will also be 2 members of the UWager family joining us in-house at SBR headquarters. So take your chances by joining us March 10th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time and try to knock us all out to win $1,000 or more. Again, if you want to participate in the UWager $1,000 Bounty Free Roll Poker Tournament with SBR, then head over to sbrvideo.com/poker and join now. Registration to the tournament is free, so why not join in on all the action and play for a chance to win $1,000 or more? Be sure to stay tuned to SBR's Twitter page at SBR Sports Picks for all updates regarding the event. Also, be sure to subscribe to SBR's YouTube channel at SBR Sports to receive all content updates. It's going to be a very fun and intense night on March 10th, so I hope to see you guys then.
Looking forward to that, Donnie. $100 bounty on our bonds. Anyway, let's get back to this because there's some cracking games and there's plenty of value to be found. Max, Fairfield, getting 5 against Manhattan, and we were sweet on Manhattan a couple of days ago.
No, we weren't sweet on Manhattan.
We were sweet on Manhattan.
We were sweet on Ryder. We were sweet on Manhattan getting slapped with a freaking 2x4 and freaking asking for more. But no, when I look at this Manhattan Fairfield spot, this is a spot where, listen, Fairfield has been just despicable. You know, I've wanted to literally take an ice pick and just stick it in each of their eyes. But they've been cashing under tickets for me, and they continue to do so. This is a low number, I'll say that, but plain and simply, I've made too much money off Fairfield unders to go and take an over now. I don't give a shit about the number. I'm taking it just to ride the streak. I'm taking under 115.5. I don't think that Fairfield gets to 55 points in this game. I think that Manhattan takes care of business. I think they win this game by close to double digits. So 4.5, 5 points, whatever's clever. I think Manhattan wins this game. Go big, scary. Don't want to see him in a dark alley. Paulie Polycap.
There you go. So we do like Manhattan. We just didn't like them a couple of days ago, but we loved them a couple of days ago because it was all on Ryder, Donnie.
Yeah, we were, and I did hit a Ryder team total in that game. Thank you. But looking back at this game, Manhattan, to me, I mean, Max will probably tell you this as well. If you go over the entire roster of guys that actually factor with minutes, Manhattan is just as talented as anybody in conference, but something is just not working out. Like, you have guys that can shoot threes. You have dominant bigs that can certainly, get after it down low. You have a good defensive profile for Manhattan. They just can't seem to get it together, and you're seeing like some 116 totals out there. I do agree that this is going to be a rock fight and probably stays under that number, but I'm also going to look at the road team coming in at Fairfield. They like to play it low. If there's not a lot of points and a lot of the scoring, you go back to that Virginia-type capping style where you say, wait a second, like 4.5 and 5 points in a real game, that's like 8 or 9 or maybe 10 points that you need to cover. I think Fairfield can keep it close. And again, I preface this by saying Fairfield shouldn't be able to keep this close. Manhattan should be much better with their record, but you are what your record says you are at this point. And Manhattan struggles just to win basketball games, let alone win by 5, 6, 7, or even double-digit points in this game. I think Manhattan should win this basketball game, but I'm not taking it with my money. I'll lean on getting the points with Fairfield, slow it down, force Manhattan to do what they do, force Ryder into Fairfield 25% from three-point range. The good part about it is Manhattan doesn't let you shoot that many three-pointers. Ugly game. I'll take the points in this one. I just haven't been able to trust Manhattan just yet.
Okay, can you trust Iona getting 4.5 against St. Peter's, Donnie?
No, I can't trust that. St. Peter's is a really good home basketball team. I like Iona. I like everything about their profile. If they can get Asante Gist back, I know he has a broken foot. I don't know what the time frame for that, or even if he can come back for the Metro Atlantic tournament down in Atlantic City. But here's why I like St. Peter's in this game. Here's why I think they win. Just stated number one, they're a really good home team. But also there's outlying factors. When you take a look at like the ACC and the Mountain West or the Big Ten, winning the regular season championship is nice. But look, you're looking to go to the tournament and catch major waves. When you're looking at these smaller conferences, it means a lot when you can hang a banner, especially for St. Peter's in their home gym. What I mean is, if they can win tonight and you also get a loss, Monmouth can help them out on the opposite side by winning their game versus Siena. You get a share of the Metro Atlantic Championship. You put the ring on your finger, you get the jackets on your back, and you can tell your grandkids about that story. They'll win tonight because they're better than Iona, but they also have some extra meat on the bone where if they can win and get a little bit of help from their Garden State friends over at Monmouth, they can win a championship tonight, and that means a lot. St. Peter's wins this game and puts up some points.
Okay, so you got -4.5. So you're looking around -2.5 for the first half then, Max?
No, if I'm taking St. Peter's, I'm taking them full game. Iona's definitely proved that they can come to play at least in the first half. We've seen the output of three-point makes increase while St. Peter's has gone down. Iona's shooting 48% from the floor right now. So that's definitely something to be worried about. If Isaiah Washington and E.J. Crawford are getting to the bucket wherever the hell they want, doesn't matter what St. Peter's throws at you, that probably isn't going to help. I think that with St. Peter's, you really got to get some consistent performances out of guys like Estrada, Eddard, Quinn Taylor. I think that there's just too many question marks on a game-to-game basis with the St. Peter's team. I think being at home definitely helps the situation, but I have a lot of anxiety taking St. Peter's in this spot, so I'm going to watch and make a play live.
Okay, and what about Siena? Getting 1.5 going into Monmouth, and obviously St. Peter's have a lovely eye on this game.
Yeah, listen, with Siena, I talk about it often. When you have the best point guard in the conference and he has the size that he does at 6'4" with Jalen Pickett, he really just decides what he wants to do. If he wants to get his guys going and really give one of his guys a big game, well, he's going to make it happen for him. He's great court vision. He makes strong passes. You're not going to be picking off his passes like you see with some point guards in this conference. I think that when it comes down to making a shot, he's the guy that you want because he just finds a way to get to the rim. I think in this type of game with this small number, that's all you need from him. Get to the rim, make a bucket, win the game for us. I'm going with Siena. I think that Monmouth, with Ray Salvini coming off such a big scoring game, I think there's a letdown personally for him. And with this Siena team, you need all hands on deck to handle them offensively with the amount of penetration and the ability to get to the free throw line that they have.
Donnie, do you like Siena? Just getting the 1.5. Maybe you'll get 2 if you put up a bit of juice.
This is a tough one here because Monmouth's still playing for a little bit of seeding in the Metro Atlantic tournament, but also you're taking a look at Siena. Siena can do one of those things, Flash, that says, you know what? I don't really give a damn what happens over in St. Peter's. I'm going to take this game and win it outright and take the regular season where I don't have to split it with anybody. That means a lot. But also you're talking about a really good Monmouth team at home. Only one loss on the season for Monmouth at home. That came to St. Peter's, of all teams, 81-69. But in the rest of their games, they've really handled their business at home. It's tough to look past, but Max is right to me. I always think Siena is the best overall team in conference play. And when Siena always has that built-in advantage at home up in Albany, that always kicks in. But Monmouth is a really good team at home. I'm sort of of fighting that urge. I like the angle a little bit better in the St. Peter's game where if we win and Monmouth can win, we're going to play hard. But just for the simple fact that Monmouth is a good basketball team playing really well at home, but there is a lot on the table for Siena tonight to get that outright conference win. I'm going to stay away from this, maybe watch it to see how it plays out. It's hard to go against Monmouth at home, but then again, it's hard to go against Siena pretty much in any environment, especially when they have it all on the line tonight to take down that conference and hold it by themselves.
Yeah, and when the games are tight like this, there's plenty other worms to be dug up. This one maybe not quite ready, but we lean on Siena as they are the better side now. Valparaiso getting 4.5 going to Loyola. Chicago, Donnie.
Yesterday, we looked at the game versus Evansville, and we said to ourselves, like, boy, I don't want to take Valparaiso. Their best player is probably not going to play because he's out with mono. Well, hey, maybe he has the quick elixir to get back from mono and being sick because he did play yesterday. And the guy I'm talking about is Javon Freeman Liberty. But now you take a look at a whole different animal in Loyola Chicago. And they didn't play all that well yesterday, barely squeaking by a bad Evansville team. Now you step up in competition versus Loyola. But the fact that your best player is playing again, is he still sick? Can he play back-to-back days? I don't know. I would lean on Loyola, but the number's a little bit too high. I want to see Loyola on the court in conference tournament play before I make a wager. Just interesting that factoring in on players being there and not being there and then all of a sudden showing up out of nowhere does frighten me a bit in this situation. But I lean towards Loyola in this one, but nothing more.
Okay, we lean Chicago. Any chance for Valpo here, Max?
Listen, there's always a chance for Valpo because they seem to bring their best game against Loyola Chicago. They played 2 tight games already against them. I watched both of them. So Valparaiso definitely has to focus on getting to the free throw line. That's been an issue as of late. I think that there is some good ball movement across and from side to side along the three-point line. But unless you're going to be able to get Ryan Fazekas 15 looks, where he can take at least 10 shots from the three-point line, well, that isn't going to work against this Loyola Chicago team. I think that with guys like Tate Hall and Cameron Krutwig, you have good balance inside and out. Throw in the point guard play or at least ball handling skills of Lucas Williamson. And this is a Loyola Chicago team that's going to be a handful. Once again, I think that 5 points, this game is lined about where I would have put it, so I do not see any value from a pre-flop basis. And I think that there's going to be points that are scored in this game. I think that Loyola Chicago has proved that they can score the basketball, and I think that with Valparaiso, you want to score with the shot clock stopped. Neither are plays right now. I do need to do a little more of a evaluation on the line, but that's the way I'm looking, and I think that with Valparaiso, Javon Freeman Liberty definitely, I think, is playing today, in my opinion. And let's be honest, he's not like the New York Jet quarterback. He doesn't make out with teenage girls, okay? So he's good.
Okay, we're going to go Ohio, getting 2 against Miami, Ohio, Max.
Yeah, this is a spot where I look at Ohio probably on the first half. I think that Miami, Ohio, yeah, listen, like Nike Sabandi, Delonte Brown and company, like they can do things against certain kinds of opponents. But I think that when you go up against a dominant point guard like you're going to in Jason Preston, I think it's a spot where I have to look towards Ohio. I think that they play better on-ball defense. I think that they have better inside-out balance. And I think that when you look at Ohio, this is going to be an in-state rivalry game. So this could mean a little more than we're really playing in, or it can mean nothing. I have no idea. But by the numbers, the values with Ohio first half.
Okay, Ohio first half getting the 1, Donnie.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go against Max in this one, and only because of the injury information that's probably going to come out in this basketball game. Ohio doesn't need this game, and if you take a look at the last game Ohio played, they were really playing above grade. But the problem with that is Jordan Dardis didn't play in the last basketball game. It's like, oh my God, look at them. They're coming out. They're playing strong. They're going to get an upset win in conference play. Then Ben Vanderplas went down late in that game with a rolled ankle, came back in the game late, but they blew a massive lead because they were shorthanded. Now, if we take a look at this game coming into Ohio, if you're Ohio's coach, and you know, like when you roll, if anybody's ever played sports before, if you roll an ankle, you get it taped up, you go back in. But sometimes the day or two after is when the ankle gives you a problem for the swelling to come back in. So if I'm Ohio's coach and I say Jordan Dardis is injured and Vanderplas is injured, Am I running them out there in this meaningless game when I know I have to win my conference tournament to make it in the postseason play? I'm resting those guys. You don't have that same advantage here at Miami of Ohio at home, senior day. They're going to be going full speed. I like the -2 in this game for Ohio, and I even like Miami of Ohio even in the first half, because if I'm not going to get 2 or 3 starters in this game for Ohio, you know the coach sends that signal. He doesn't tell his team they're still going to play hard. We know that they're college kids on scholarship. When your coach says, hey, you know what? I don't really know if I want to play these 2 guys here, it sends a message to your team that says, are we really in it to win this one, or are we looking forward to conference tournament play? I like Miami of Ohio in here because of those injury statuses. Now, that could change throughout the day, but if it comes out where Dardis and Vanderplas aren't going to play in this game, I don't think it gives Ohio too much of a shot in the arm.
Wow, okay, so maybe we can go Ohio first half +1. And Miami full game. Donnie, Eastern Kentucky getting 12 against Belmont.
Yeah, I've looked at the game. When I always like to take notes and inventory of what I actually did from the day before, I thought Eastern Kentucky would get some points yesterday, but that certainly didn't turn it. 58-48 in an Eastern Kentucky game. They play with a lot of tempo. You will get tempo from both sides in this basketball game. 2 of the faster teams in conference play, but also when you take a look defending, Belmont does it on offense and on defense. It's one of those where you step in where Belmont hasn't played yet, Eastern Kentucky has. And I guess the common theme so far, when you're taking a look at these conference tournament games, teams where I really thought would put up points are not putting up points. So I do take a step back. I think Belmont wins this game, and a team total for Belmont is probably the play for me. But it's one, again, I hasten, where I slow play a lot of things in conference tournament play until I see these teams on the court at least once, get their deep breath. We're in conference play. It's out of our norm a little bit. I'm going to lay off this game, but there should be points. Whether or not we get it, I'm not willing to bet on it yet.
Okay, we'll put the Belmont team total in the chat, please, Donnie, and then shout me next time I come to you. Max, we're looking at maybe Belmont team total. Apart from that, Eastern Kentucky getting 12.
Yeah, I don't like the number of the spread. I think that Belmont wins the game. I think they win this game close to this number. Not enough value to warrant making a play pregame. When I look at this total, though, it's like, well, we saw what Eastern Kentucky was able to do against Belmont in the previous 2 games that they played. They were able to get some points. I think that it definitely we see a difference between Belmont on the road at home that's quite noticeable. I think that you really got to get a good defensive performance from Belmont first and foremost versus the Eastern Kentucky team. You have to shut down Jamero Brown, and Belmont's done a great job of winning games and winning games with defense. I can't remember the last time that a team scored more than 70 points against them, and this is a team that, like Donnie alluded to, has value with team totals. I think that the one thing you do have to worry about is, does Belmont care about winning this game convincingly? Do they really want to sharpen their teeth for a next possible game? I think that Belmont team total definitely has value, but I look for Belmont to win this game with defense. And if they're going to do that, that could be where Eastern Kentucky struggles to get to 60, and they use the same kind of tactics that Tennessee State was to at least keep them from putting up close to 75 points.
Okay, Eastern Kentucky team total under, team total Belmont over 83.5. Maybe you go both ways. You're not going to get them both wrong, I would say. Ball State getting 1.5 going into Northern Illinois. Max.
Yeah, this is a revenge game for Northern Illinois. I think that they have a good chance of getting it, but it really remains to be seen how disciplined this team actually can be versus the aggressive style of defense that Ball State implores. I think that when you look at this team, this is a Northern Illinois team and a Ball State team that both are going to limit you from the field. You're going to struggle to hit 40%. They're going to do a good job of chasing you off the three-point line and keeping you off the free throw line. The issue is who's going to be more consistent scoring the basketball. I got to look at the team with the game-breaking score in Eugene Germain. It's sort of what I call the Marcus Howard theory. If you have a guy that can take over a game and put his team on his back and take you to the finish line, well, that's what Northern Illinois in this situation is. I think that you have to do a good job of guarding Tajay Teague and not allowing him to be able to run it up and down the floor and handle the ball. I think that with his high dribble, there's a lot of opportunity to put a smaller player on him and use that kind of height disadvantage to your advantage. It remains to be seen if Northern Illinois is able to do that. But I think that Northern Illinois, with the combination of Darius Bean and Trenton Hankerson, get to the free throw line, make enough three-point shots, and if you can get some offensive contribution from Lacey James and Noah McCarty, that's even more to it. So I look at Northern Illinois in the spot.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I'm just giving up the 1.5, Donnie. It looks like the type of spread that we like to get our teeth into.
Yeah, last home game for Eugene German. He's going to go off tonight. There's no doubt in my mind he's going to play well. And if you take a look at the last 4 games that Northern Illinois has played, they're 3-1, but the only reason why they're 3-1 is because they lost to Western Michigan on the road, 72-69, where Eugene German was benched in the first half for academic reasons, then plays the second half and drops 23 points and almost leads them to a victory. Comes back in the last game versus Toledo, and they wipe the floor, 71-50. I think Northern Illinois gets it done. I think it's a great spot for them. He's going to go out in style. I think they're the better team. Now, look, you're going to get a really good defensive effort by both of these sides. And also take a look at Ball State. No slouch on defense. He's the best player in this game. They win this game tonight. Give me Northern Illinois.
Okay, what about this then, Donnie? Missouri State. We haven't seen a road favourite, or we haven't seen many of them today, but Missouri State are giving up 2 going into Indiana State.
Yeah, I don't really like this game all that much. It is going to be a close one. I think the game is lined appropriately. One of those coin flip games. Didn't spend a whole lot on it, so for time purposes, Flash, we'll keep it moving here. Okay, keep it moving. Just a little mention for all those in the chat. If you've got any injury updates, injury news, remember, it's a team game. Get your little nose to the ground and give us all the information so I can give it to the boys and they can come up with the best way to eat these worms. Come on, Max. Missouri State giving up 2 in Indiana State.
Yeah, this is a spot where I think that Missouri State matches up and has advantages versus Indiana State, but I got to ride the hot team here. I got to ride the team that has been putting freaking money in your pocket, and they've been able to do so with good defense, good on-ball defense, limiting teams' offensive rebounding opportunities. That's going to be key against Missouri State and Gage Prim tonight. I think that with Tulio De Silva, I think that you have a very nice front court combination for this Missouri State team, and with what's his name, Javar Lavaria or something. I can't pronounce the guy's name. That's nothing new for this show. But losing someone at 6'8" that gives you that type of offensive performances, giving you double digits, giving you a good deal of rebounding is going to be a disadvantage. But in the end, I think that when you have the point guard play of Jordan Barnes, you have the score-making ability of Tyreek Key, that's going to be the difference in this game. I think that if you did have Tyreek Dixon for Missouri State, that balances it out a little. But if you focus on Keandre Cook and really isolate him and take the offensive game at him and force him into situations where he may foul, you can really put Missouri State's offensive game plan on ice.
Okay, we're going Indiana State. Picking up the 2 points. We like that, Donnie.
What's that?
We like that. Indiana State getting 2.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything on that game. So, yes, I'll just say yes, I do like it, Flash.
Okay, lovely. Austin P getting 1.5 going into Murray State, Donnie.
Good. What a great game here. I mean, you're looking at 2 ultra-efficient offenses, 2 teams that play very good defense. I still want to lean on Murray State in this basketball game because I do think, as I said, styles make fights in this one. Best 3-point shooting team in conference, Murray State at 39%. I think there's some advantages they can take from the 3-point line. And again, they don't lean on it. When you say, hey, look, 31% of the 3-point shots and they probably shoot a lot of volume, that's not the case. You know, they're 10th in conference at volume shooting from 3-point range. So they're going to pick and choose their spots to nail those daggers. They also score very well inside of the arc at 51% of their offense, which is good for 6th in the conference. I think they get to the free throw line. I'm going to go against the grain because I think all season long, Austin P has been the better basketball team, but I think Murray State pulls it out today and gets that close winner.
Okay, Murray State against Austin P, and Austin P getting 1.5, Max.
Yeah, I like Murray State also, and I like the under in the game.
So what number have you got for the under? Don't be standing too enthusiastic.
You can get 141.5 depending on where you shop, but 141's more widely available.
Okay, we've only got 4 games to go. We're in the final 5 minutes, Max. Let's see what we can dig up. Here's one of your teams against a team who hit 3 figures. Gardner Webb plus 5.5 against Winthrop.
Yeah, this is a spot where I want to look at the over, but I think that with Gardner-Webb, they cannot allow Winthrop to be able to make 14 to 16 three-pointers like Winthrop was able to yesterday. I think that Winthrop definitely is playing with some revenge against Gardner-Webb, but Gardner-Webb with Nate Johnson is just a different team. This is a guy that can make shots whenever you need one. He ends scoring droughts. He can take it inside. He's not afraid to pull up for that 10 to 12-foot jumper. I think that this Gardner-Webb team definitely had value for talking about double digits, but at 5.5, I got to look towards Winthrop. I got to look towards the over, but nothing is official as of yet on those games.
Okay, no worries at all. But you're leaning or looking towards the over?
Yeah, I am. Absolutely.
Okay, lovely. Well, Donnie, Gardner-Webb getting 5.5 against Winthrop, who couldn't miss.
Yeah, I think it's a good spot for Winthrop here, the 5.5. And again, this is still going to be played on the neutral court site. I did like Gardner-Webb yesterday. They've been very good down the stretch. Would be nice to have Jose Perez in this conference tournament, but you can't be beggars, can't be choosers, as we like to say. So you have to handicap the game based on the players that are available. Best defense in conference, Winthrop. Best offense in conference on Winthrop. So if I think we're going to win this basketball game and take Winthrop, 1 or 2 points, I think they can cover that 5.5. Just a matter of can they seal the deal throughout the game from free throw shooting. Only 64% from the free throw line on the season. They're the better basketball team. I think they win this game and win it comfortably. So give me Winthrop.
Okay, the second biggest spread that we're going to see today is the Citadel getting 14.5 going against Wofford, Donnie.
I mean, when you look at the game, you think Wofford should be able to do whatever they want, right? Citadel's going to run really fast and play no defense, which is usually a carbon copy of how you like to get points. But again, we're not talking about mid-conference season, January and February, and let's get hot and make a run here. You're just looking to survive and advance. So at the end of the basketball game, are you running up and down the court? Are you trying to press in it? It's one of those where I look and say, Citadel, yes, they are really bad, but they do have that X factor where they can run really fast and go unconscious from three-point range. Not so much unconscious making them, but they're going to keep firing till the game is in. Spread's too high for me. Lean Citadel, but other than that, I'm looking to move on here.
Is a spread too high, Max?
No, I think it is too high. I think Citadel's going to cover the number. Wofford's lost, 7 games in a row? They're not in a position that I'm going to be laying that type of number, even though they were able to rebound from the first time they met with a very convincing win. I think that this number, if you jumped on at 146, 147, okay. I have no problem with the over there, but I think that's going to continue to rise, and I think that this game is going to be another under for the Citadel. We've seen them go under in a variety of different locations and situational spots in the last couple games, and I think that this could be a spot where Wofford really suffocates, really allows Citadel to run up and down, but that doesn't mean that they're going to make the shots. I think that this is an ugly game. I think that this game stays under, and I agree with Donnie with Citadel.
So you're looking at under 146 to 147, Max?
No, it's at 150 right now. I said I would have liked the over 146 or 147.
Okay, well that's even better then, so you're getting 3 or 4 points.
Yeah.
All right, let me come back to you then, Max, because we've got Hampton, again a massive spread. They're getting plus 11.5 against Radford.
Yeah, I just have to look at the over, and I have to look at Hampton in this spot. It's just too big of a number. I think that when, like we've talked about over and over again on this show, you have that combination of scoring, you have that quality of scoring, it always keeps you into games. And if they play the kind of defense that they did against Longwood yesterday, well, frig, we're going to be cashing another ticket on Hampton, and we can get crazy and savage and take them on the money line to dethrone the home court position there.
What's the full game total on and you like the over?
Listen, at 150.5, it's not out of this world to think that this game could go over. I think that the better value is with Hampton at plus 11.5.
Okay, Donnie, we've got plus 11.5 Hampton, but Max even throws in a little money line teaser.
Yeah, no, one of the more, craziness part of the night when I just check in to see some scores and I see Hampton playing some ridiculous defense. I'm saying, did we really flip the script? Did we hoodwink everybody throughout the season and say we're going to play really bad and then just ratchet up the defense? But looking at this game, and I like to come to you from an emotional standpoint when looking at Hampton. I feel like Hampton are my kids, right? Followed them all year long, and I told everybody, Hampton at home is a nice little hashtag, and they always disrespected them. 74 points, 76 points, 76 points, 77 points at home. They continue to get over. And I wake up today and I have my finger on the trigger and I'm going down. They really didn't have the Hampton game so much on my radar. And I see the disrespect again, Flash. And look, if you're an American, you take your vitamins, you watched Hulk Hogan growing up, it's imperative that you back Hampton in these spots where they say 70.5 points is a team total. They can get that in their sleep. I don't give a damn if they're going up on the road. I don't give a damn if it's a conference tournament and the other team is actually the home team and they play really good defense and they want to slow it down. Brother, you don't slow Hampton down. If you're not on 70.5 as a team total over on Hampton, just not American.
Okay, that sounds like plenty bets there. Over 150.5, that means that Hampton have got to get over 70.5. Hampton plus 11.5. Hampton money line. Yeah, it just looks like an interesting game. You could have 4 bets and pick up 4 big worms. And the money line must be worth 2 worms as on its own. Okay, VMI, the last game before we do play of the days. -4 going into Sanford. And we'll start with you, Donnie.
I'll lean on VMI in this spot. They're going to want to chuck threes. Number 1 in conference play. Over 50% of their gross shots come from three-point range. Sanford will allow that and plays horrible defense at letting you shoot 47% of your gross shots from three-point range. Give me VMI in this game here, Flash. We'll keep it quick.
Okay, before I go to Max, I can tell you the Hampton team total is now 69.5, so it's under 70,
Whoa,
Max.
Hey, look at that. This is free money out there, people. That's free money.
Max.
I'm looking the other way, Flash. I think Sanford pulls out the surprising win. I don't understand this line being the way it is. Yes, there could be some defensive lapses, but there is still Josh Sharkey on the other side. And I think that unless Greg Parham pulls out a Bubba Parham type performance, I think that this game is a little close, and I think Sanford can win this game outright.
Okay, Donnie, have you got a play of the day for me?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with it, and we're going to go back to the dance. This woman who has burned us and scorned us for 9 straight games is going to rise up, throw her prom dress on tonight, and look her best. And we are going to dance the night away with Central Michigan's team total over 77.
Over 77. Central Michigan. What about you, please, Maxie?
Bradley Davidson moneyline parlay plus 121.
Plus 121, Bradley and Davidson. Moneyline double, moneyline parlay. Well, I've gone with Davidson -4, so I'm with you all the way there, Maxie, because there's no way I can win unless you win at least half of your bet and you go on to Bradley. So listen, gives me a great opportunity to wish everyone a great weekend. By the way, record numbers today. It's been our best watched show. So remember, on your way out, please put the thumb up. We're on 102. We've got 339 watching. So just a little thumb up. Press the subscribe button if you're new, because we can then notify you. You won't miss a show. And remember, we're here for you, so we need you there for us. Have a great weekend. Brilliant, Max. Brilliant, Donnie. And I'll look forward to speaking to you all again on Monday when we get one step closer to the bonkers that is March Madness. This has been March into Madness. See you Monday.